Welcome to the second part of this video. In the last video, we wrote this middleware, but one thing we did not do was use our external libraries that we have right here, and this is what we're going to do. So to use all these things, first let's spin up this server. You can see that we're running on this port right here. If I go to this, we have this port that we are displaying here. But let me bring back the route that we wrote last time. If we have that, and we go back, that's what we have. What we can do is that our server is not giving us much information, and we need more than this to know what is going on in our server. So in order to do this, we are going to use Morgan. Morgan is going to log everything that we're going to do. To do that, let's require it in here. So const Morgan is equals to require Morgan. So if we use it, let's always use middleware app.use Morgan, and you invoke it. If I come back here, you can see, and I make a request in the browser, again, that should load in our server. So we have all this. This is the IP address, this is the date and time, this is the method, this is the protocol, and the rest of this here, which is not really useful. But what it does is it also gives you a format that you can specify your logs in, and you can decide to use common or tiny or combine. Anyone, when you come back here, you can see the request again. You can see that we have a shorter log. So that's what it does. Another thing we can use is helmet. Helmet is for security purposes. Helmet. When we use it, I'm going to show you before using it. In our request right here, we go to console, and we request this. You can see that we have this. If you click on this, you can see all this. All this information right here. For one, you can see it is saying here that this application is powered by Express. So for a hacker who wants to get you, they are going to look at this information and go and check vulnerabilities of Express and come back to attack you. For one, you don't want to give them this information. So what you're going to do is you are going to use the package called Helmet to hide all of your information. So if I do app.use, let's use Helmet, and I invoke it. And I come back here. If I request this route again, and I click on it, you can now see that it has removed and added some new headers. Right here, you can see that powered by Express. You shouldn't appear right there. You should not. For a second request, shouldn't. So it has now added all these things right here. On the server. Why is it so slow today? Open it in the browser. Open console. Request it again. Get that. See. Require it in, and we use it. So Helmet is going to take care of all of those. Another thing we need actually is the .env file. config. So if you have, okay, let's create a file. Okay, a file here. I just call it .env. And that is the file that it is going to pick its environment variables from. So for one, what we had here. Use any environment variable. Okay, yeah. This port, we can now come here and put it in the environment variable. That's 5,000. I'll go back here. We can now read our environment variables. So that's what we did. And what else do we have? Course, and we haven't set course. And we're gonna set course. And I say, okay, let me put it up here. Requiring course. So by default, what course does is that it opens your application up for every request that is coming in. So it just sets star, which means anything can request your application, but you can change that. For instance, if you're using your application, you know where it's coming from. If you want to use React to build it, you know that it's going to come from Webpack. Webpack server, you know what it runs on. So you can specify your origin here and just say HTTP. //localhost and colon 3000. You can specify it like this. So this application will listen to this. This is the only place that it will allow communication to come through. So one thing we're going to do is that we have this error handler here, right here. Error handler. It's not error, okay, it's not found. But we're going to write an error handling middleware right now because this one is not very much useful. It's only when it cannot find anything in this application, it will fall it here to just bring it right here. We want to write the error handling middleware right now. And one thing you have to know about an error handling middleware is that it has 4 parameters instead of 3. And we're going to see how that is going to be. So say add.use. I just say instead of rest next, you have error, right? And you have rec, you have rest, and you have next. So if you actually remove one of these or you misspell this, it's just going to take it to be, rec, rest, and next with a different name or something like that. So we are going to see how that is going to be. And what we're going to do here actually is first we want to get the status code that request is bringing. So if I say status code is equals to rest dot status code. I want to check if that status code is 200. If it is 200, then we know that everything is fine, and it is the server that has a problem. But so we say if the status code is 200, then we know that every other thing works. It is a server that may have the problem. Otherwise, just respond with the status code that is coming, because this may not be 200 or 500. So give us the status code that is bringing. In this case, if this error reaches here, it's a 404. So it will create a 404 status code for us here. Other than that, it may be 200 or 500. So whatever that may be for us. So we're going to respond with status code that we have here. So rest status, then we give it a status code that we created, right? Yeah, we respond with that. We also want to respond with a JSON. And in this, we want to specify the error. So we can now say message is error dot message. you know. One thing we can also do is specify the stack. So we can say error stack. Error stack is error.stack.